Okay, so there we go. I think yeah, we'll wait for Isaac to join. I think he will join us in a little bit, but let's make a start. So super excited, everybody, to start this this webinar, an introduction to kind of what we're trying to do here in terms of community outreach and participation with the Yield Labs project. So can everybody see the screen on the panel? Is that okay?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah,
now.
sorry, I'm just moving my camera across. Let me to the next slide. All right, so let's just run through the agenda of what we're going to do here today. We're going for an introduction and Q&A session. So we're going to make obviously the introductions on who's on the panel. Hopefully Plan C will join us, and I'll make a more of an introduction as I pull through the slides later on. We're going to look into the project in depth, kind of from a community perspective, what we're trying to achieve, and how things are going to run from the calls and what to expect in the future. We're then going to jump into, because we don't have a set topic today, we're going to use this opportunity to kind of get to know the community, understand who's out there, and we have a multi community kind of thesis. So we know we have participants that haven't joined any calls before. So it'd be great to kind of do a quick Q&A with you guys, understand what you want to see from the project or kind of feedback on what we're trying to do here. And then we can jump into general market and yield Q&A. And finish. We'll finish once the recording's finished. We will jump into an after show where we can ask any deep dive or personal, related to your own portfolios or questions like that. So what this session is a great opportunity because we don't have a specific deep dive topic this time. We will have next time to ask any of the panel in-depth questions and get some time with us, and that would be great. So let's just go around the panel. While we wait for Plan C to join. So if Toby, if you want to go first, just a quick introduction to who you are.
Yeah, my name's Toby. I have a background in telecommunications. I've spent a lot of time working. I'm from the UK. I've spent a lot of time working in the Middle East and the Far East, and I've spent some time living in the States too. Whilst I was moving around, I got involved into cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. This is ultimately helped me to discover yield, and that was really integral to me sort of being able to have some financial freedom. Obviously, the original horse from this game is Celsius Network, and I was very early into that project, and I followed it since pretty much its inception and the white paper. And for Yield Labs, I will be doing as much as possible to help the guys out. I have some experience in project management, and I have experience in digital design and things like that. So I will be helping it all gel together as best as possible.
Beautiful. Plan C, you're there, yeah? You joined us. Maybe some audio issues. So Josh, if you don't mind, just a quick introduction on who you are and a little bit about your work.
Sure, absolutely. Hey guys, thanks for having me on. So my name is Joshua. Got into crypto around 2018 or so, shortly after the major Bitcoin price correction after the bull run. And my first introduction into gaining interest on your crypto was Celsius, much like others on the panel here today. But I would say I'm more of an investment maximalizer than I am any kind of token maxi. My specialty is mainly on data analysis and charts. Hope to be able to contribute to the Yield Lab project by providing insights on like what investments really have a great opportunity based on their balance sheet, based on their income statement, based on their team, and also based on their fundamental metrics. And happy to work with you all. Thanks for having me on.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. And yeah, a lot of people have followed your work, so thank you for the quality of that work. And we're going to explore that a little bit more as we go through these shows in some deep dive sessions. Steve?
Yep. Hi, everyone. Steve Bradford. A a lot of people will know me from previously running the Sell Army account, which has obviously now been rebranded as sort of covered on the Twitter page. Heavily involved with Celsius from back at ICO. My background is also telecommunications. I have a 16-year working career with British Telecom in many different roles across that business. Predominantly sort of with Yield Labs, working on social media, on-chain analysis, order book analysis, and also putting together some articles and tutorials around some of the DeFi protocols that we're going to cover as part of Yield Labs to sort of bridge the gap for anyone who's sort of CeFi dedicated to coming into the DeFi world, where it's a little bit more complex and a few more options to navigate, etc. So yeah, going to produce some content and hopefully you'll find it useful, and I hope you find the call useful as well. Also, just saying that there's a couple of people on the call who attended the Celsius event that I organised with Graham not so long ago. So yeah, nice to see those guys pop back on the call, and yeah, all good. Hopefully we can do another one soon.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Steve. And I think, yeah, like these online events are great, but I think we'll try in the future when we can build the community up and we can get it into hundreds and hundreds of participants. We already have a decent following on socials on all round, and then we can kind of do some real world events. So that'd be great too. So Planty, did you get your audio working?
Yeah, how do I sound? Is it working?
No, perfect. Yeah, just a quick introduction about yourself, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, super excited to be a part of the project. Really appreciate you guys asking me to join. Yeah, myself, like I've been in crypto for 4 years. I tend to get obsessed about things I'm passionate about, and this is definitely one of them. So for me, crypto in general is a passion. Yield is definitely a passion, like looking at all the things we're going to talk about, as part of this project. And for me, also looking into on-chain data and really diving deep into different metrics and just figuring out kind of like high level what's going on, getting an edge in the market. That's kind of what I'm most interested in right now. But yeah, anything I can add value to this project, I'm really excited to do so.
Perfect. So let's just run through these slides quickly. Some of you have seen them already, so apologies. But for those who haven't, I think it's fair that we give everybody an introduction on kind of what's going on here for the final time. So just a little bit on myself, because everybody else has made a great introduction. So my name's Kevin. A lot of us on this panel are from the Celsius community, only because it was kind of the only thing around that was any good at the time. And I think the category is broadening now. So I think it's the right time to talk about other opportunities or other things as we see them, even if they do turn out to not ultimately work. I think it's great that we explore ideas and we keep an open mind. So I'm originally just a blue collar worker from the automotive industry. I didn't obtain a degree or college degree, and I ended up in the British Army when I was 21 years old. I worked as a communications technician there. I served in Afghanistan, Operation Eric 7. And then I moved into telecommunications. I used that experience to move into telecommunications, oil and gas. That sector exploded in early 2000s, and I caught a bit of that. And I went all over the world. I spent a lot in the Middle East for a lot of that time as well, looking and installing telecommunications, designing, working on a commercial aspect, an operational aspect, all over the place, and ended up in a regional operations role. And then I kind of had enough of that. A lot of consolidation in the sector, and the world was ever connected, and it just diminishing returns really from my perspective. So I got into crypto in 2017, like everybody else, and just saw the end of the bull run, and then got spent the rest of the time learning. So yeah, I've been retired from that formal working since 2019, and I've been full-time crypto and financially free, using these kind of products and services that we're talking about to basically enable wealth generation and passive income generation. So you can find me. I built up a little bit of a following. I was around at the beginning of Celsius like everybody else as the white paper. So I kind of watched the category from the beginning and watched it grow, and basically tracked every single metric and made a lot of connections. And I think we've got a great panel of people that can basically, I think we are kind of well placed as experts to kind of from the external from the kind of user perspective to kind of give a well-rounded opinion on the yield generation space. So you can find me on Twitter. I've got a website there, personal website, and then I've got a couple of email addresses as well. The Medium link is incorrect there, but you can go on my Twitter and website and find the Medium link there. I've done a couple of articles recently. So let's run through the objectives of kind of what we're trying to achieve here from the community. So obviously, like we said, we've worked in single communities for a long while, kind of doing deep dives of analysis and looking at things, looking at kind of what's going on there, and tracking metrics. But I think it's time now that we kind of broaden the horizons on the category and look at both CFI, DeFi offerings. There's a lot of mature propositions out there or projects with promise. So we want to basically create a community of all inclusivity, which basically delivers kind of unmatched and high quality content to the participants to basically help facilitate wealth generation. Let me just move to the next slide. Yeah, as I said, all-inclusive format, multi-community. We understand that this is going to be a challenge, and everybody has strong opinions. We have the birth of the yield maxis now, who just kind of like to use one protocol, and that's fine. That's a great opinion. We welcome that opinion, but we also want to look at some different type of platforms as well, and kind of explore what's going on there, and kind of compare them against each other. So everybody is welcome as long as you add value to the community. No shilling individual products, and no silos, and we just want to keep it open-minded. So we're going to be doing content on YouTube. We'll do public videos each week. Zoom will do this format every 2 weeks, and we're going to deep dive into certain protocols and products as we go, and open Q&A sessions with the audience so they can get maximum participation. We have Medium articles, and then a lot of social media as well, which we'll post the links at the end of this presentation. So we believe this is kind of a disruptive model. Most platforms or channels are kind of they're offering paid content to get the best in class content, but we really believe we have a great panel, and we have the expertise just from a business perspective and from the yield category perspective and crypto perspective to kind of deliver great in-depth high quality content on a free basis and in an unbiased manner, unpaid. One of the other objectives was basically we realized that the caliber of the speakers was high, and that some of the things we've been delivering was actually better than what some of the internal companies and projects were kind of producing themselves. So we really want to use this platform to kind of showcase that talent. If we find, and we really want to discover who else is out there in the audience, people that are producing great work or content. Let's bring them on the show. Let's share that with everybody, and then we can kind of all learn from each other. So anybody out there that wants to participate, bring something to the table that we're not doing, or a different opinion or something, and you're welcome to come and join. And we want to discover all the top talent from all the different communities. And also the final thing, we want to drive the industry as a whole to kind of a higher standard. So we really want to make this into basically become almost, I don't want to say like this word, but like an authority on kind of how we, an unbiased authority or kind of board that views these projects objectively from a customer perspective, and making sure that they actually deliver what they're promising that they deliver. So they'll all have a list of deliverables at the outset, and let's measure and track these projects and make sure they don't deviate from their mission, and that they're able to do this for their customers, and basically give the customers what they said they were going to do. Any kind of work with or collaboration with these companies, we will be taking most of that revenue and just giving it back to the community in terms of community growth, giveaways, and purchasing additional licenses so we can do more of this type of content. Basically, we're not trying to monetize this in any way, and this is a core section of what we kind of do at Yield Labs. There's a lot more that we'll discuss and discover as we move on for these. We think this platform has a lot to offer in a lot of different ways, but the community offering is very important to us, and we want to make sure that we protect the community and always deliver the best content for them. So how are we going to do it? What's our perspective and approach? Basically, going to use always focus on the yield generation platforms. We believe this is one of the killer applications from this cycle, and it can help a lot of people out. It's not for everybody. A lot of people want to hold their assets themselves and they don't want to give up custody, etc. We understand that, but we believe that there's a lot of cash on the sidelines that could benefit from some crypto exposure. So yeah, all yield generation focused, and we believe that also the portfolios are kind of evolving just from a buy low, sell high portfolio, and we should be looking at things from a kind of a more mature investor perspective in terms of crypto as a business. I've written articles on this and how we could look at our cash flow and our revenue opposed to kind of just our top line portfolio value. So there's lots of different ways that we can look at portfolios and earning yield, and lots of ways to kind of skin the cat, if you like, but we're open to discussing all of these and kind of just giving the audience ideas so that they can make better decisions for themselves. So we're going to use everything we do is kind of data, tracked by data. We look at the growth metrics. So all of this information you can see on Twitter. We've already started to build up databases of kind of user growth and AUM growth on certain platforms. We did this a lot for Celsius back in the day. And we use Glassnodes as well. We have a Glassnode specialist on here, Plan C as well. So we're going to be, and we're able to plug into some of these companies' APIs. So we're basically able to build out huge data sets and pull this together and present it to you. So we're basically doing all the legwork. All you have to do is turn up and just kind of consume the content and then support the content by sharing, etc. So we have fundamental analysis, technical analysis, on-chain, and data presentation. Basically all those skills are in-house. Pretty much all of those are on the panel today. There's a lot more panelists. We'll come on to some of those in a minute in the next slide, but we believe we have everything covered. Mindset and approach is super important. So as in value investors, we believe that it's always a long-term approach. We're not looking to hit maximum gains in our portfolios, and we're not trying to teach that type of strategy here. We're looking to build high quality portfolios that are risk managed and producing a quality revenue stream. As I've already mentioned, we want to be self-critical. Never turn this into echo chamber. I think everybody should be accountable, and being able to basically, nobody's right all the time. So we're happy to take any feedback, or as long as it's constructive. And we do have a mixture of skill sets and views, and it's okay to not always agree. And we're definitely open to new ideas. So nobody's kind of immune. It's not an echo chamber or whatever we say goes. I think it's an open forum, and that's how it should be. So in terms of criteria to come on the panel, basically, this is just a guideline of kind of the caliber of what you can expect, but there is no set criteria. If anybody is an expert in anything or proficient in any skill, you're welcome to come and join. But we kind of look for, if we're talking about yield generation and portfolio increases, we're looking for people who kind of walk the walk and have done it themselves and created high yielding portfolios in whatever respect, either in dollar value or revenue stream. Obviously, we want people who've had time in the market, and subject matter experts are great too. On-chain, and so basically deep dive analysis on the data. We have plenty of experts, and we'll Plan C is one of those, and Josh has great data presentation skills. So we believe we have that covered. Fundamental analysis, we're going to dive deep into some of these projects, how they're fundamentally set up, reviewing the data sets and kind of the projections of what we believe is achievable in the future, both from a business and individual token perspectives. And then obviously the future trends, and using all of the above to basically predict and kind of make projections on kind of like what we see the future looking like for this category. So everybody's been mentioned on this panel, bar Kevin, who's in Singapore, so he's obviously asleep. So he's helped me set this up in the beginning, and he'll be featuring on this forum going forward when the time zone permits. But he's an entrepreneur. He has a couple of data analytics businesses, and he's very experienced. Who was that, Steve? Could you just mute them, please. Yeah, so basically, Kevin's super experienced entrepreneur, and it's great to have him on here. We've covered everybody else. We really enjoy working with the guys over at Cultivate Crypto, both Charlie and Miguel, and we've provided content, unpaid content on their courses, Crypto Mindset course. So super happy to work with those and have them on the show. I was on their stream. We believe that they're kind of what they're doing over there is unbiased, and they're not producing paid content, and they're providing quality education for a fair price. So happy to engage with those guys. Patrick over at Wave 3 will be featuring. He's a great technical analysis engineer, and he has. I really enjoy his like fractal and cycle analysis, so he'll be on the show. We touched on Joshua and Toby, so that's all good. Let me just mute Josh if you can.
Yeah, I can't do it. Sorry, I think you're the only host, so we can't do it as panelists.
There we go. Yeah, okay. So from the community perspective, what do we ask in return? Just the basics. Just turn up, enjoy the content that we're going to provide, and the analysis we're going to give, and share and spread the word. It would be much appreciated. We're not asking for monetary gains. We're basically just asking for support. Let me yes, and you're welcome to support the contributors and the panelists if you want to take one-to-one services with them, consultations, etc. Some people on this panel offer those services, so feel free to reach out after. There's no obligation. That's not what we're here to do, but you're welcome to kind of come and consume the content from the panelists, and then if you enjoy what they got to say, then reach out on a one-to-one basis. Contribution of ideas would be much appreciated. Anything you reach out on social. Steve manages the social. Reach out to him on there, DMs or tweet, and or in the Telegram, and tell us what you want to see, as long as it's in line with kind of what we're trying to achieve, and keep providing feedback. I think that's essential. That's it. So yeah, you are welcome to tip if you want. We'll have some addresses where you can send. All this has been kind of bootstrapped by ourselves. These licenses are quite expensive, and the different things, and we've got a website coming up and different bits and pieces. So it is all been running this at a loss really at the moment. So if you're welcome to tip, but actually no. I would suggest you consume some content and make sure that you make some gains, and you sort yourself out first, and then you're welcome to come back and circle back if you want. So you can find us on Twitter, Telegram. We have a YouTube channel. Go over there and subscribe, and we have a website coming soon. So look out for that one. We'll launch that one. So that's the basic introduction. I think. First of all, I'll just ask the panelists if there's anything to add, kind of what we're trying to achieve here from a community perspective, and then I think we should just jump straight into a Q&A with the community. Basically, let's see who's out there. If anybody's got any questions, if anyone wants to introduce themselves, feel free. If not, feel free to ask questions based on the yield or generation category or the market as we see it. We're happy to kind of dive into those. So this is going to be a great opportunity to really get some time with us and tell us what you think about what we've presented. And if you think, if you've got anything way to improve, we'd love to hear it. So just from the panelists, anything to add to what I've said there?
Maybe Kevin, it's just worth noting like that, because initially when we kind of launched the project, there was maybe a little confusion around because the name's similar, right? Like Yield Labs and Yield App. Like, so we're not, this project is not about, favoring any one platform. Where, it's all about unbiased, high quality content. We're looking into all the projects, and we're open to looking into anything that, the community is able to find as well. That's the cool thing about this project is it's a decentralized approach, right? So you're able to, as a community and as a team, work together to make sure we're not missing anything, make sure that we're kind of like everyone's out there going and trying to find the best opportunities and bring it back to all of us. And then we can kind of, do the deep dive on it as a group. So that's what it's about. It's about the community and the panelists all working together to find the best opportunities in the lending or in the yielding space. So yeah, we're not specifically associated with Yield App. Yield Labs is we're unbiased, and we're we're open to everything at this point. We are going to, talk more about the best projects, but we're not going to just talk about one project. It's about looking at everything.
Yeah, that's a great point. And just for the confusion with the logo and stuff, Toby was kind enough to put that together. None of us actually realized it was similar to the other one. I'd just been spent so much time on this project that I was actually surprised. But it's a fair comment. It was the same colors and different things. So that's all cool. We make mistakes too, and I understand Yield app is going under a rebrand soon, so hopefully they'll change the color, or we can change the color, one of the two. So it's all good.
Just for me, I just want to say that I know that we've got a lot of people coming in from different communities and different skill levels, and what's perhaps sometimes important to realize is that no question is too silly. If it's a question that you think that you need answering and you haven't been able to find an answer to it online, don't feel like you can't speak up. There's no judgment here. This is a free, open, sort of safe space, and we're just all here to achieve a common goal, right? And that's financial freedom through yielding on digital assets. Please get involved. Don't feel like you have to sort of sit in the shadows. We'll be really glad to hear from people or hear your stories, and just see what sort of background you have. And again, another valuable thing is if you can offer insight to us, like Kevin and Plan C have already established. Like, nobody's perfect. We're a small team. We have one brain and one set of eyes each, and sometimes things fly under our radar, and or perhaps we haven't had a chance to get to that yet, and it's on the list and important things are happening. So yeah, please speak up if you feel like you have some value to add. We are definitely interested in hearing from you all.
Cool. So in terms of question from the audience, I think if you can raise your hand if you have any questions, and then we can unmute you, and then feel free, and we can just jump into a quick Q&A on the project or and any general feedback. Can you manage that, Toby?
Yeah, I'll keep my eyes peeled.
Have we got any questions? Nobody got any, or is there any in the chat?
No open questions yet.
Okay.
Oh, Elliot.
There we go. Go for it, Elliot.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear.
Perfect. Right, I've got a quick question. So Kevin, you talked about wanting to discover new talent. What do you think are the prerequisites to finding this talent? I mean, should they have earned a certain amount through cryptocurrencies? Do they have to have a certain skill set? Like, do they have to have put out YouTube videos or produced certain types of content? What would you say the prerequisites to discovering this talent are going to be?
Basically, just offer something that the community would find of value. So if you've got a good opinion or a project, or like you've done a piece of work in your life that's cool, that's relatable, then that's value in my opinion. There's no criteria. You don't have to have $1 million in the bank or something like that, So it's like and free crypto. So just add value and just engage with us offline, and we'll connect. And then if you think it's suitable content, then we'll bring it to the audience. It's very informal, really.
I just reach out to us and just like show us what you've done as far as your research or what article or whatever you've done to kind of display like you've done a deep dive on a specific topic or project, and then we'll just look at it. And yeah, like it just comes down to what the more we just want to gather all the value adds from the community that we can present. And if you feel comfortable presenting the information, then 100% we'll have you on the panel, and you can kind of have a time at one of the weeks to present what you've discovered and your opinion. So yeah, we'll definitely we can do that stuff offline and kind of figure that out as we go. But yeah, anything that you guys create as far as content, just reach out to us on all the different platforms, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you guys.
Pleasure. I think we've got Jem next, Kev. Sorry, guys, by the way, it doesn't give me really an order in which you guys are putting your hands up, or I'm not quick enough to see it. So bear with me if I'm not asking you in order.
Go for it, Gemma.
Hiya. Good to see you all. Thanks for this. What I was going to ask was what all kind of yield projects you're actually looking at the minute? Because I know obviously you're looking at Celsius, Yield App and Anchor protocol, but I was wondering what other ones you're actually got in the pipeline that you're looking into.
So basically, they're the ones we're going to focus on for the meantime, just because we believe, well, they're the ones we're using for a start, and then obviously the Terra ecosystem mirror. There's a lot of other stuff there too, but we just, we have to develop a lot of content on this stuff and present it. So they're the ones for now. We think there's enough to deep dive on those. Celsius, we've deep dived it to death over the last like 2 years. So we, and Josh continues to do that. So if you can go over to his channel, and we'll do some Celsius content on here too. The other ones we kind of haven't from a public perspective. We've never really done that. So we're just going to start with Yield App, Anchor, Terra, Mirror, all of this stuff. So we're just going to jump in one at a time. We're going to bring on the founders of the teams. We're going to talk in that way. We're going to, do discussions without the team so we can, say as we see it. So there's a lot of different ways we can skin it. We're going to have to do, every 2 weeks, we'll come up with a topic and we'll focus on that. It's not going to be for everyone, and we really want to, there might be other stuff out there too. We're not going to include Nexo and BlockFi, and we don't really see those platforms as they're not really meaningful to me. If somebody, I don't really want to get into that debate either. So that's probably one thing we won't talk about. So yeah, those are the ones that have kind of, I believe Yield App has promise. I believe Celsius has an unbelievable track record. I believe Anchor's meaningful, and I believe the Terra ecosystem's cool, and anything else on DeFi we're welcome to discuss. So I think that's enough to get us going. And we managed to talk about Celsius for kind of like over a year straight. So I think we could, now we're broadening our horizons, we'll probably have enough content to do.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
we'll be doing like a very deep dive on each one of these projects, right? So like it's we're going to go into a lot of projects over time, but we are also going to go in depth more than most people are able to find elsewhere. So yeah, just with all the resources we have and contacting the teams and getting the hard questions answered, our goal is to really tackle each one of these investment opportunities and platforms for generating yield in the most in-depth way possible on all fronts, right? So we're gonna tackle it from a security standpoint. We're going to tackle it from a team standpoint. We're going to look at what's the track record. We're going to look at the metrics. We're going to get into the making sure that the community that you guys are feels comfortable. Like we don't want to recommend anything. It's not about that. It's about presenting the data, and it's about presenting high level information, and then allowing the community to decide. And we're going to share our opinions, right? Because that's what we're here for as well. But we're not about shilling any specific project, but we do want to present information and like in-depth understanding that you're not going to find elsewhere. So yeah, it will take a while to really dig into each of these projects. And like Kevin said, like we went into Celsius, like many of the guys on this panel have spent countless hours looking at Celsius, and we've talked it to death. So we can speak about Celsius like the back of our hand. It's so easy for us, but we want to get to that level on all these projects, and that's where we think we can add value to the community. So that's kind of what we're looking to do.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
and also like we can go into basically like how that kind of fits together in a portfolio, how to risk manage a portfolio. We probably have a lot of different levels of kind of knowledge in the audience. So kind of just let us know what you want to see. If we get a resounding like, okay, that's a topic everyone wants to see, how to structure a portfolio, how to, I've done discussions on that one. Jem, you saw that presentation. That was like a couple of hours or whatever we did on that, on kind of crypto as a business and the portfolio as a balance sheet. Like there's just infinite topics, to be honest, in this category. So
okay, well, thank you very much, because it does give me hope, because I like to get quite obsessed as well, but I don't have the access to the folk you do, so you'll be able to find things out that annoy me.
that's it.
Thanks, Jem. So we've got Joe V next. I think Kevin.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Joe.
Happy to be here. Coming new to crypto. I've been fooling around with the idea of crypto since the beginning of the year, and then May 19th, I thrust in full force. I saw May 19th, May 20th as a opportunity to get in low, and it's been nothing but since. I come to you also through Charlie and through Miguel, so I've just been through the Q3 course, if I will, and have been watching all of your videos yourselves, as well as the Charlie videos, and I'm trying to catch content from this point in time forward, while I also rewind and watch prior content. I was excited to be and learn about Celsius, and I can't consume enough of Alex Machinsky content. So Michael Saylor too, in parallel, but I kind of put Michael Saylor to the side, and I've been consuming a lot of Alex Machinsky content. I'm on his, or I watch the AMA every Friday, 1 o'clock. Very informative. I thought I was going to get into this space just to do trading, and have been pleasantly surprised that it's also offering yield. And the rates of yield are just alarmingly, oh my God, too good to be true type stuff. I'm dabbling into Hex, and I look to also dabble more into some of the other apps in the yield platforms. So that's who I am, how I've gotten here, where I'm at, and I'm very excited to get into this group and be an OG of this group, if you will, and then look forward to future investing opportunities if there are some good projects down the road, yield bearing. And I also want to be an ambassador and an advocate for the right platforms and the right projects. So sorry to go on and on about myself, but that's who I am. But let me ask a question, if you don't mind.
Please, Joe. No, yeah, it's great to hear about the community, who you are, where you're from, how you got into crypto. It's really what we want to know, and then we can tailor content to suit everybody a little bit better. So yeah, please fire away with your question.
Okay, yeah. So okay, there's a lot of rumbling, and I'm from Canada, and I'm on a border town to the U.S. So I basically am a cross-border person between the U.S. and Canada. I work in the U.S., I live in Canada, so I have a very unique perspective. A lot of rumbling on the U.S. side about stablecoins. A lot of rumbling in the governments in Canada about stablecoins. And at first, I really didn't give it two guesses, but I thought to myself, if there's a run on the banks that they can take their money out, get a stable coin in USDC, and start parking it into places like Celsius for 8-9%, that could upend banking and upend the economy. Any thoughts on that? Any insights on that? Is that a fear that I'm projecting? Is that a reality that could come true? And then if it does it turn into a whole regulation and they start putting the circuit breakers on everything? What do y'all think of that concept or thought?
I think it's a valid thought. I think the reality is different, right? I just think, like the friction, that there is friction in terms of like, well, first of all, like to offboard, the banks would probably like freeze you making the cryptocurrency. Like let's pretend that scenario happened, the banks probably say like, no one's putting any money into a crypto platform. So that would kind of neutralize the onboarding of stablecoins. But let's pretend they let that happen. I just don't think people, with everything everybody knows about crypto now, they're still not people still have money sat in the bank doing nothing. Why haven't people done it earlier? I don't think there would be that kind of flight. I'd probably say it's probably going to be to Bitcoin over stable coins, just because it's easier to access than kind of getting a stable coin, being able to deposit it somewhere that you choose, that you deem safe. So I don't really see that scenario. I probably, everyone flight into Bitcoin is probably the first place that they would go, just because of accessibility.
So the flip side of that, Kevin, why are the governments so nervous about it? What do you think? Where do you think their nervousness is coming from?
They're always nervous, and every time you change anything, when you change a hundreds of years old system, of course they get nervous. If you try and tell somebody in an office to do something different, fill in one more piece of paper, they get nervous. Humans don't like change at all, so it's like people just don't like it, and they don't like they like the status quo. So they want to protect the status quo basically. So that's the way I see it. I don't think it's anything kind of And I don't know how nervous are they, who knows really, like, but I think yeah, they're definitely not making it easy, the banks, to kind of onboard money. And I think the birth of kind of the first crypto hybrid, traditional and crypto asset bank will, whoever makes that play, there's a few that have already made it. FE Bank are making a play for that. I think they'll be really successful. I think it'll be a meaningful piece of infrastructure that we need. We've kind of fixed all the stuff in crypto, like there's a lot of like ways to generate yield, and it's all cool, and like things are becoming a bit more mature and easier and frictionless once you're inside, but kind of onboarding is still the same old pain points, if not worse. So I think fixing that piece is the next piece of offboarding money too is quite difficult. So I think somebody whoever cracks that nut, maybe it's FE Bank, maybe it's another bank, they're gonna do very well. So, but it's gonna take time, a lot of time.
In terms of like banks and crypto as well, is that, like Kevin said, they're still stuck in their like draconian ways, right? They don't like change, and they don't like the fact that they are or that some of their retail customers perhaps are taking the power back for themselves and realizing that they don't have to sit with an ultra high savings account that pays out like 0.1% a year or something like that. I think that's what HSBC has currently got me at, with like their premier account is like 0.01%, and they don't like the fact that you can take your own money and you can invest it yourselves and very, very easily best them. And the way that they can perhaps limit that is by limiting your interaction, by stopping you moving your own money into these ecosystems and into these spaces. And we've seen that in the UK recently with Barclays and other banks like Revolut recently, or not recently, that was a little while ago, but stopped taking withdrawals and deposits to Kraken, for example. So exchanges too. So in an effort to rein it all in and sort of get back some control, they're tightening the noose a little bit around your money and stopping you from being able to get into the crypto space, and make it difficult for you to get to exchanges, and make it difficult for you to get to deposits, or so on.
Two of my credit cards won't allow a crypto purchase.
Yeah,
the only two that I have, so they've cut me off.
A lot of them shut down. A lot of them will shut you down as well. Like you make a transfer into their account, they just shut the account. Like they're like,
oh
no.
boy.
Yeah, I've seen that. Revolut do that a lot. So,
or they'll call you, the fraud department's on the phone, and we're just trying to protect you, sir. Like, we know what to do with your money. And it's like, no, you don't. I know what I want to do with my money, and you are preventing me from doing it. And like Kevin said, a few people are attacking this problem and trying to take a bit of the heartache away from on and off ramping, and that's going to make the entire ecosystem much more seamless when that happens.
It'll be meaningful. It'll be meaningful when that piece of infrastructure gets put together, and somebody will be able to get it together. Whoever's the first one or the best at doing that, and kind of gets the licenses and is able to string it all together, they're going to do really, really well, I think.
Or when your bank drops their traditional investing methods and starts giving you 15% on a savings account because they're using crypto to generate their yield, then
I don't think they ever could. They're so leveraged. I don't think they could ever. I don't think they'll ever get to that. Here in Canada, we have the e-transfer process. My bank limits it to 2,000 a day, and I can't tell you how many transactions I have at 11:58 and then 12:02 to be able to move $4,000 in a 10-minute peried. So let me let the floor
Joe,
to some other folks.
Clancy here. I'm Canadian, and I just wondering what you're using there. So personally, there's I'm trying to remember the name now. CoinSquare. Like, have you tried CoinSquare transfers? Like, so not a bank transfer, not an e-transfer, but a wire transfer using. Wire transfer. You can do a wire transfer for anything above 10,000. You can do a wire transfer with no fees to CoinSquare. And if you go down to the bank and do that and explain things to them, like, they won't stop it. I've done that a few times. It hasn't been a problem for me, at least. But yeah, CoinSquare seems to be pretty easy to deal with.
I'm on about 6 or 7 exchanges, CoinSquare being one of them. I would actually say that the $2,000 limit is almost a little bit of a circuit breaker that helps me. It's almost my little dollar cost averaging. It keeps me from pulling my own trigger too fast. There's sometimes where I want to go a little faster, but you know what? I'm okay for now. I'm not dealing in high quantity, so I'm okay for now. But yeah, I've seen some wire transfer where you can then move a lot more money at the same time. Let me finish up by saying I've got people outside of crypto in kind of the normal world. Hey, Joe, you're getting into crypto. What's going on? Da, 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 da. They're all afraid of the volatility. They're all afraid about Bitcoin, and they're the tourists. When Bitcoin is going up, they want to get in. They want to get in on it. When it crashes, oh my God, I can't believe I was there. I'm out. But when they hear that you can buy a stable coin with no volatility, that intrigues a lot of people. A lot of people. So let me leave it at that, guys. Thank you very much for the forum, and I look forward to more stuff going forward. And I'm kind of excited to be part of this group, part of the being in on the ground floor of this group. I've shared your kind of start here with a few folks, and I found myself bragging about the talent that you've put together. So congratulations, guys, and let me leave it at that, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Joe. Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. You can look at it as like the banks are just trying to help you dollar cost average into crypto, right? So it's like, yeah, I mean, obviously, if for yourself, like having that $2,000 limit, yeah, at times that can be a good thing, right? Getting in dollar cost averaging in. So yeah, it's not necessarily bad on all fronts, but there are options to get in more if you want to. As far as the stablecoins, I'll just quickly mention something. I agree with what Kevin was saying there as well. But yeah, I don't see a scenario where stablecoins like overnight are a threat to the current system, because it just takes a while for the average person to wrap their head around how stablecoins, like what they represent, how they're backed, how it works. So I think it's an adoption curve effect where you're going to see like, yeah, people, once it clicks with them, like the power of stablecoins and how some of these are actually safer than putting your money, excuse me, you're putting your money in the traditional financial system in the bank. I can see like it will gain adoption, but honestly, right now with the rates the way they are on most of these platforms, it actually turns off a lot of people from the traditional system, because they're so detached from earning yield that to them it seems like a scam. Like I bet you anything, some of these platforms like Celsius, Yield App, etc., if they had their stablecoin at 4% or 5%, they'd probably get more signups for people buying stables, because it would feel less like a scam. So when you have your yield at 8-10+%, it's such a big difference of what people are used to that they almost don't believe it, or they just, so I think over time, like education is a factor, but I don't see a scenario where like overnight there's like a run on the banks and like everyone buys stable coins. I just think like it's going to take time. It's going to be an adoption curve. But I think the governments and the banks are literally just trying to buy themselves time. Like they're trying to put out these headlines. They're trying to do these things to deter the public. Just so they buy themselves time to figure out what they're going to do with stablecoins. I don't think they know necessarily. Like Kevin said, like they fear change, and this is a disruptive change that's coming. So they're just trying to buy themselves time to figure out what to do.
Yeah, and also they want to build their own infrastructure at the same time, just to add to that. So we'll skip over this one now, but yeah, they want to build their own infrastructure and do custody themselves rather than Celsius or anybody else. So that's kind of the thing. Let's move on. I'll do a couple more, then we'll turn the recording off, and we'll just do some.
So there's one in the chat that's been in there for a little while. It's from a user called Ender. Have you ever tried to carry out a trade with Bitcoin futures that Plan B talked about? Some months this year, not now, the system made over 20% PA. Risk should only be the future exchange platform risk, e.g. Binance. You want to go ahead and answer that one, Plan C?
Kevin might be able to speak to it better. I haven't done that myself. I'm aware of what the trade is, but I haven't. I think that difference it's changed since then. But yeah, I can't remember. They called it the cash and carry trade or something. Like there was a word for it. I can't think of it right now. Are you guys aware of what that was called? Like you could basically short the spot and you could go buy the futures, and then you get like a cash and carry trade difference that was like 20-30% for a while there.
I've not done it.
Don't
day trade. Yeah. Don't day trade.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah. No, it's not trade. I don't think it was trading. I'm not like, again, I haven't done it myself. I'm not I'm not super versed in it. I don't know if Joshua or any of the other guys know, but yeah, Plan B was talking about, a few other guys were talking about this. And this was driving a lot of institutional money into crypto because they were able to take like a risk off position. They were able to take not a directional trade, but they were able to get like a guaranteed 20. I think it was ranging from 20 to 40% yield. But this is gone. Like this doesn't exist anymore. But this was specifically on Bitcoin, where you could buy, I believe it was Bitcoin futures and then short spot, and there was like a 30 to 40% delta on that, and you could basically capture a risk-free difference. So I think that's what Plan B was speaking of and what the question was about. But correct me if I'm wrong on that. And maybe Joshua, I don't know if you're aware of that. If he's there, he could speak to it.
Yeah, Josh. So sorry, and I think the general consensus is there that we didn't have any experience from a panel perspective on that. So my apologies, but seems like the opportunity's gone anyways. Next in the chat too, we've got Nav. He says, thanks for the content. Do you think Yield app not being available in the USA until next year may open up for more competition, thereby potentially limiting how much return one can expect from the token?
So I'll just take this one quick, right? So there's two ways to look at this. Like you can look at it as if, and I knew this one was going to come up, right? It's a popular question. So there's two ways to look at it. So it's basically, some people are looking at it as a negative. So they're saying, okay, America's not open. We can't have this rush of American money coming into the platform, blah, blah, blah. Other people are looking at it saying, that's really smart. You've just avoided that massive headache and you can start building a platform that can do different things to the other platforms. So I think, does it affect the token value in terms of AUM? Yes. But I would also not just buy the token spot, and I would try and earn the token rather than spending your own money on it. So for me, that's not financial advice, but yeah, I think the AUM is affected. Of course it is, but I think in terms of platform features and potential and fiat on-ramp and in-app swaps and all these other things that are difficult from a regulatory perspective to do for other platforms, I think it will help them. I asked the CEO myself about this. I said, like, why, when, and what, he said maybe next year. So let's see. There is all the money, all the, the rest of the world's out there. I know America's a big player, but it's not everything. So there's two ways to look at it. So I don't know if anybody else has anything to add to that.
Thanks, Kevin. Do you want to move over to Donovan? He'd like to chat to you. Hey, Donovan, are you there?
I think he's gone. Let's move on to the next one. So Soviet Hawk.
Let's have Soviet Hawk. Hello, Soviet Hawk.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, sweet. So my question is regards about working with the community. So when you guys do these Zoom calls, you're going to be doing deep dives into the different projects such as Yield app. Will you guys kind of be pre-releasing the topics on these deep dives so that, people within the community can kind of do their own research and compare what they might have come up with in comparison to yourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll release it like a week before. We'll just say this is the topic. There's been a lot of tension in the community around, because we were just focused on one project. Now we're looking at a lot of other projects. So we're trying to avoid going to certain things straight away to stop being called shills and different things. So, we're not paid for any of this work, even though people think we are. So we're going to pick neutral projects that we haven't done before first, and then we'll go on to those. And then when everyone's calmed down, then we can go on to the other projects. So yeah, it's that's the way we're just going to do it, just to keep it fresh. And obviously we could discover some new people from the other communities as well that we haven't worked with before. So yeah, we'll let you know. If you have any other ideas of projects that have traction and that are solid, then please let us know.
Okay, thank you guys.
Cool.
Okay, next I think we got Cannibal Crypt. Sorry, can I just say as well, guys, if you've got a question, instead of they can get lost in the chat. So if you can use the Q&A box, we'll be able, if it's something that you specifically want answered, we can get to it a bit better. So Kev, if you want to go over to Cannibal Crypt.
Yeah, he's open.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right. Yeah, so I've been in crypto since last January, so still pretty new. Feels like a long time. Discovered Kevin's work through Crypto Mindset in the Q2. So that's kind of what led me here. But my question is regarding stable coins. At first, obviously, I really didn't understand the point in the beginning, and now it's kind of like I see the benefit of, maybe sticking $1 million in USDC, and just getting 88 grand a year or whatever, and doing that. But I was wondering if Kevin or anyone on the panel had any opinion regarding stable coins and their significance, if any, in building a portfolio from the ground up. I mean, I don't mind saying that, like I said, I'm really new. My portfolio is probably a lot smaller than some guys. And I was just wondering if you see any significance in utilizing stable coins in building the portfolio from zero.
Yeah, I do. I see a big significance, and this is part of the work that we want to do here, is to try and educate people on how to kind of look at portfolios from a responsible perspective, right? So we're not financial managers, but that type of question is exactly what we want to kind of try and address. So that's a valid point, right? And everyone who gets into crypto thinks, what's the point of a stable coin? I'm not going to make any money on it. I'm going to make 8% or 20%, or that's not enough, right? 20% is not enough in crypto for most people. We get it, right? But the significance of a stable coin in a portfolio is to basically not lose money. So there's times like this where nobody on this panel, nobody in probably the world can tell us whether the market's going up, down, left, or right at the moment, right? So these are the types of times that you need to protect your portfolio, not give away money, to not cause yourself excess pain, not deploy capital and then have to wait another year and go through a lot of emotional trauma and cause yourself sleepless nights and all these different things. So the 8% is cool, but not losing money is even more cool, right? So this is kind of, that's the place in a stable coin for somebody who's kind of not sure what to do, or thinking about what they want to do next. You can get the 8%, the 20%, whatever you want to get in whatever platform, but you can make sure you don't lose money. And not losing money and protecting capital is the first thing everyone should be doing. What everyone wants to do in this space is they want to deploy capital to everything and just spray it around. And then we all know what happens when you do that, because I've done it and everybody else has done it. And then you lose a lot of capital and you cause yourself significant damage in your brain in terms of like stress. So that's the point of the stable coin, right?
Everybody comes in and chases the moonshot, right? Everybody wants the dream of buying that $1 Bitcoin and then seeing it go to 60K. And the reality of it is, like, yes, there is still opportunities to do stuff like that, but that's perhaps not safe. It's not. It's an incredibly volatile space, and being degenerate in the most volatile assets is just like a world apart, right? So I think it's warming to some people, and I think Jem's just mentioned in the chat also that a lot of people who are familiar with the traditional banking systems can understand the value of having a stable coin and being able to earn yield. And that doesn't mean that you can't get the moonshot, right? Because some of these projects allow you to farm tokens that will appreciate using single-sided liquidity mining. So you can use your USDC or whatever to be paid interest in a native token.
Also, the second thing I missed is that, like, it basically gives you, so not doing something today and then being able to keeping your capital protected till it's the right time to kind of deploy capital is super important. The amount of people that have bought the dip 5 times already in this dip is crazy, right? That's almost everybody. Nobody's got anything left. Everybody's allocated capital. So now if the market decides to go to 10, 15K, 18K, 20K, wherever it wants to go and sit there for a year, everyone's fully deployed. So yeah, if you denominate your portfolio in Bitcoin and you think that's the value, then that's all good. But a lot of people don't. They do not denominate it in dollars, and they're under significant stress right now. So that's the point. Keep your capital in one piece until it's time to deploy. It's not always time to deploy. I only ever deploy it maybe 1 or 2 or 3 times a year. I don't usually 2 to 1 time a year. I make a move. So doing something every day is not a good thing.
One of the biggest differences, I would say, if you did a massive survey on retail versus institutional money, or high net worth individuals versus retail money as far as investing. And you could argue this, and you could say this probably on every type of investment. One of the biggest differences I would assume would be is that retail tends to fully deploy their capital into risk on assets. They're very, retail is looking for the moonshot. They're looking for that instant. They're short-term thinking more. It's not about like what Kevin talked about, like preserving the capital and waiting for the right times to deploy. So yeah, institutional money always has something in a stable asset. Most institutional money and most high net worth individuals, they're very strategic about how they do things. And that's why it's called max pain. When you have like a drawdown, it's called max pain because retail is mostly deployed. Almost all retail is deployed, fully deployed. And so they feel that max pain because they're underwater. Whereas institutions and these smart investors, I mean, the smart money for them, max pain is never max pain because they always have risk off assets that are stable, like a stable coin or whatever.
Max opportunity. It's max opportunity.
Yeah, it's max pain versus, exactly, max pain for retail, max opportunity for institutions and the smart money. So that's the difference, right? And it's not about like being fully deployed. Like there's so many things that Kevin and the panel can speak to this. Like this is a huge topic in and of itself, is like how much deployment do you have at what times of the market cycle? Like this is huge. Like this is really the game, you know, it's a lot to talk about, but just touching on it like I just did there, I would say like that's the biggest difference. If you could see the statistics on retail versus institutions, you'd be shocked to see how much they keep on the sidelines almost all the time throughout the cycles, ready for those opportunities. Because you make money when you buy at a discount. It's easier to buy at a discount and see that opportunity than it is to sell at the top of the cycle. And so they wait. It's about, you make money when you buy, not always when you sell.
Awesome. Really appreciate all that information, and looking forward to all the further content. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That's exactly the type of conversations we want to have. Not the going for max gains all the time. Look, we're not killjoys. Of course, we want to get 2s and 5s and 10x's, right? But they're with small portions of the portfolio, and take your time and do it like that. So it's not about being a killjoy, but we also don't want tons of people just getting washed through this system. So but that's a great question. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Kev, do you want to try Donovan again? I think he's sorted his audio out now.
Yeah, he's open.
Donovan, go.
Donovan's having a nightmare.
I know Youssef wanted to talk as well, but his hand went down. So if you want to come back, Youssef, just pop your hand back up. You waited a long time. So
I've opened Youssef. I've opened him. Oh, sorry, I didn't open
guys.
Donovan.
Can you hear me?
Hey, Youssef.
Hey, how you doing? Hello. Hey,
Go Youssef. Go Youssef.
Hey guys. So I'm a Celsian, like you guys. I started in 2018, and I've been following that group religiously for the last 3 years. And I recently joined on as a community manager for them, so I'm helping them out with their marketing. And I've also been a part of Anchor Protocol since day one. So I really like the fact that you guys picked the same 2 projects that I've been researching like since the beginning. So that's why I mean, that's like the first thing right away that I see that there's a lot of value with what you guys are going to be doing. And my question is mainly regarding from the gentleman that spoke in the beginning about stable coins. So I think, yeah, there's a lot of adoption that needs to, and understanding that needs to happen before people can understand the difference between something like a fiat-backed stable coin like Paxos or Gemini that actually have bonds and treasuries back towards them, and they're fully regulated and compliant. And then you have Terra stablecoin, UST, which is algorithmic, and it's not necessarily backed, it's collateralized by Luna. So my question is, what do you guys think about the recent remarks made by the new SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, in targeting synthetic stock tokens and non-fiat backed stablecoins like UST. Do you think that, because this was just happened very recently, I can repeat what he said too. I can quote it. He said that he basically, let me find it real quick. He said, it doesn't matter whether it's a stock token, a stable value token backed by securities, or any other virtual product that provides synthetic exposure to underlying securities. These platforms, whether in the decentralized or centralized finance space, are implicated by the security laws and must work within our securities regime. So, I mean, that is pretty clearly targeted towards Terra and their ecosystem. So I was just wondering, like, what you guys thought about them regulating and having them sign up through the government regime. And do you guys have an exit plan in case they come after them?
I really want to answer this, but I'm going to give other people a chance. So, like Josh, if he's still there, if you want that one, you can do it. If you don't, I'll happily answer it. Or Patrick, if anyone wants to touch on it, but I'm happy to take it. I just want to conscious that I've spoke a lot.
Go for it, Kev. You're the star of the show, man.
Yeah. So basically, it's a valid point, right? And it's clear that they're going to come after these DeFi platforms and these offerings. I think this is going to take a huge amount of time. I think it's going to take a huge amount of effort. Who are they going to come after? How are they going to do it? We haven't yet seen one of these kind of, I don't think, attacks on kind of one of these protocols or something. But I think this opportunity that's here now, I'm definitely taking advantage of it, and I'm not going to be scared off especially when there's insurance cover as well available for some of these things that you've already talked about. And I think anything, any of these legal actions are going to take a very long time. How do they shut these things down? How can they do it? This is just even the Ripple thing is just like dragging on and on and on, and that's a centralized entity. So I think good luck in shutting everything down. Do we need regulations? Yes. Are regulations good? Yes. And I think, I just think it's going to take a huge amount of time, and they're going to spin their wheels for years and years and years trying to sort this stuff out. Does that mean it's a threat to some of these protocols and platforms? Yeah, it does. But, each one's different. Each one's unique. Some have anonymous teams. Some have founders. I'm sure they all have lawyers, and it's just going to be a huge legal battle for a very, very long time. So if you're worried about that stuff, stick to like USDC, stick to whatever you want to stick to, whatever structure you're happy with, and use Celsius, Yield app, all the other apps and all the centralized solutions. And you can even use them. If that's what you're worried about. If you're not, then, participate in a DeFi ecosystem. So I don't have the answers, but I kind of, from history, we know this is going to take years and years to play out. So.
Sweet. That's great. Thank you, Kevin. And looking forward to
congratulations on the job, man. Congratulations on the job. Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
It'd be great to have you on here, man. You can tell us about some of your work you're doing and different stuff over there.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Once I get settled in more, and we work on, I don't know if you guys were listening to the last AMA, but we just picked up some big investors. So there's going to be some changes made. I liked how, you guys saw Celsius and then you saw it grow, and then now you're kind of moving on to another promising yield app. So, Celsius is
a huge amount of work with the Celsius community, for years. So we want to see it thrive and continue. But I just personally believe that there's people doing it better than I did it back then. Right. So we want to see those people continue to do their work. There's tons of chat. When I started doing this, there was no outlets. There was no one to talk to. There was no community call. There was no nothing. Right. So that's all there now. So it's all cool. You don't need me to keep coming on calls and saying this stuff anymore. So let the people that are really good at doing what they're doing keep doing it, and we can talk about something else. So let's talk about the other ones that are coming up behind Celsius, and let's see if they can match or even get anywhere near, which they probably won't. But does that mean that they can still be meaningful companies? So it's cool.
Thanks, Yusuf. Maybe third time's a charm, Donovan. One last go, dude. Otherwise, we're going to make you type it in the chat box.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go. Thanks, man.
Finally. Okay, thanks for being patient with me. with the technical difficulties.
No problem.
So I'm familiar with Kevin through the Crypto Mindset course and Charlie and Miguel. Question for Kevin with asset allocation for the stable coins is how much of someone's portfolio should they put into stable coins, and why that percentage? I know this isn't financial advice, but
yeah, it's impossible to ask as well, because I don't know your situation. I'm not a financial advisor, all these things. But like what I would say is I can talk generally on in terms of like, I just believe this. I believe there's a potential for a huge opportunity this year. It doesn't mean that is going to happen. Doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean it's financial advice, right? So, you know, if we do get a significant drawdown, and I believe there's a potential of that, then that's a huge opportunity. And I think that's a bigger opportunity than buying any individual product or coin or anything. I think that's a huge opportunity to accumulate a potential back test of an all-time high. And I think that's so what would I say about stable coins? I'd say if you don't have any, then you're going to miss out on that opportunity, and you're going to have to hold through all that pain. So I can't tell you how many to have. I can't tell you, but in my opinion, that's a massive opportunity, bigger than anything I've seen for a while. And I'm ready to do that with some stable coins. So it's, you know, I can't tell you, you know, we can talk offline if you want, and we can talk about individual circumstances, and then probably understand a little bit more what you've got going on there. But yeah, I think it's like, how many stable coins do you have in a bull run? Probably not that many. You know, when there's an opportunity to pick up assets, you probably have a few more. And then if you have a considerable amount of wealth, a lot of stable coins and no risk and just yield. So there are three scenarios.
Okay. Yeah, the talking offline would be great. Do you want me to contact you in the Telegram chat?
Yeah. We'll just chat about whatever. Yeah, I can't obviously tell you what to do with your finances, but we can just talk in general.
Yeah, that'd be great. Another question. So I know from the background that you've told, Kevin, about how you got into crypto, that you became very heavily involved with Celsius. How would someone that's wanting to get involved with a particular coin, whether it's as like an ambassador or as an actual employee, what are some ways to go about doing that to get more involved in the space?
So so where are we starting from? The bottom, like don't know anything?
No, so I've had four crypto mindset courses. So I mean,
oh wow, so you got a lot there.
Yeah. So you know, it's more than nothing. Like it's a good foundation, but I'm wanting to. So I'm an engineer, but I just see a massive opportunity with the crypto space. I think, and just blockchain in general. To me, it seems like it's Internet 2.0, as big as that or bigger. And I'm trying to get in at the start. You know, we're 10 years in about, but that's
you want to work for Celsius. Soon. You want to work for Celsius. Would you like that?
Yes, but not Celsius in particular. I'm just trying to get involved with a company. Celsius would be amazing, but it'd be fine if it were a less established one.
So
as well.
I've been offered a few jobs in the industry, right? I know Josh has. I know Plan C has. So I'll tell you, from my perspective, the formula to get a job: don't submit your CV. It's a waste of time. Nobody will look at it. So what you need to do is you need to find something that's not been done and something that you're like, I wish that was there, and then just build it. So my thing, what I did is just build a community. I was successful at it in my career. I managed to get teams of people from multinationals going in a direction, not always paid fairly and not always like treated fairly. And I managed just to get them to believe what I want, what the goal was, and get them to go forward. So what I did is just think, okay, there's a ton of people all around in Twitter on this and that. And I basically pulled them all together and I started doing these calls. So then I started writing articles and I started doing content. And then basically the company will notice and go, oh, look, this guy knows what he's doing. That's exactly what Josh has done with all his analysis. You should go and check out his channel, Celsius Daily, if you haven't seen it. And he did that too. And now they probably will hire or want to hire Josh. You know, it doesn't take I don't know if that's true, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist when you're putting out amazing content to think, hang on, it's better than what the company's doing. So the company to come to you and say, oh, that's really cool what you're doing. Can you come and show it to us? So that's the method to get hired. So pick a project, write an article, if you want an interview with someone and they won't give it you, write an article about the person, like, or the thing, and then we'll have to take notice because they'll be like, whoa, someone's written a really cool article about me. And that's the get your foot in the door card, because everybody wants a job in crypto, and it's very hard to get one just from the traditional like recruitment process. You have to basically do something so that they say, wow, that's really cool.
Just add value and you'll get noticed, basically.
Yeah, you'll get noticed.
I think passion as well, I think, is key as well. You need to have passion for this. It's not just a 9 till 5. It's going to take some dedication, I think, if you do get a job in this space. And I think knowledge-wise, well, it depends what you want to do. If you want to, when you're reading smart contracts or whatever, that takes a lot of skill and knowledge. But if you just want to be, community manager, or you can use your skills from outside of blockchain and bring them in. If you want to be working in a loans department, then some sort of financial background in that, it's fine. You don't need to have blockchain skills. So it really depends. But I think passion and going above and beyond in the space to do something and get noticed, is, like Kev said, is really going to set you above.
Tell them what you done, Steve. Like you did a lot of work, and you did things that the company, especially Celsius, were kind of not aware of. You did loads of work, and they were like, "Oh wow, how do you know this? Where did you find this?"
Yeah, I just started with the chain on chain, and got talking to a couple of the guys in Celsius, and sort of said, look, I found these wallets, and I was looking at sort of Celsius wallets, finding out where coins are going internally, externally, and they were sort of saying, well, how do you know this sort of thing? And just said, well, I'm just looking, really. I'm just taking notice, it's basically a puzzle, right? And you've got to put the pieces together. And I was starting to put the pieces together with, asking questions of people internally, and they took note, right? And yeah, we did talk about potential jobs and stuff, but it just wasn't right for me at the time. It's not something I really want. I don't want to work for Celsius. Not that that's a bad thing. I think it's a great thing, but it doesn't fit my lifestyle right now. But just going above and beyond and doing something that nobody else or not many other people are doing is gonna put you high up the list, I think. I mean, the Celsius do the what do you call them, Toby? Job fairs.
Job fairs, yeah.
Yeah. So again, there's going to be lots of people turning up to them, right? And they're all going to come with their CVs, and all going to come with their background stories. So what's that one thing that you're going to do, or you're going to say? That's
how do you shine?
What's going to put you above the other 40 or 50 people that are on that job fair, and doing something that maybe has already added value to that company or another company might be the shining star that puts you above the rest. Just saying, I've got a job and I wanted a job and I just want to change career and I've done this and this in previous roles probably isn't enough.
Yeah. For example, there was a guy who Celsius put a tweet about who are social media gurus or something out there, and there was a guy who posted a response to that, and it was a video clip. Now, forgive me because I don't remember this guy's name, but I remember the content because he was wearing a vibrant t-shirt. He had a big curly afro hairstyle, and he was charismatic. He was interesting. His delivery was absolutely on point. It was unforgettable, right? It was just yeah. And the responses were Celsius, you need to hire this guy because he's amazing. And then the next thing you know, he's working for them. So figure where you're going to shine and shine there, and then you get noticed.
Thank you. Those were all amazing answers. Sounds like, at least from the people here, that no one is involved in making smart contracts and using Solidity and stuff like that.
No, you mentioned that you're an engineer. Do you? That has varying meanings all over the world, right? So, is that what you mean by an engineer? You're a coder, programmer.
So I have some coding background. I'm a chemical engineer, so we used it, but it was only for the
maths.
For the math and numerical solutions that you can't get an analytical solution for. So it was nothing about, definitely nothing crypto related, nothing web based. It was all just math. So it's a good start, but
yeah. And if you go along some of the job listings, for example, there's some really cool crypto job websites. They are crying out for Solidity developers. You know, Ethereum's massive. Solidity is the language that the smart contracts are written in, and they're like falling over themselves for good Solidity devs. So if that's an avenue you're exploring, you're any good at it, I would imagine you'd be quite successful in that area.
But from the sounds of the people on the panel,
you're not going to have trouble getting employed if you can do Solidity.
cool. And then, yeah, thank you. That was amazing. And to wrap it up with some of Yusuf's comments about the SEC talking about synthetic assets, is that going to negatively affect Synthetic's token from what you know about it?
I'm not really, well, I'm not a synthetic expert. I know a little bit about it, but that's not really for me to answer, to be honest. I don't know enough about the project.
What's the question, sorry?
Patrick, have you?
Patrick's probably the one to answer.
I think Patrick's looked into SNX and synthetics a bit. If he wants to speak on it,
he can. Yeah, all good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so when it comes to the synthetics assets, so as far as the token goes, there's a lot of VC money that's floating around in this space, and from a regulatory standpoint, if we just look at what VCs are doing, it doesn't necessarily mean like what they had in mind is the correct answer from like a regulatory standpoint. But synthetics as a protocol itself is fairly decentralized, and it kind of goes back to the dilemma that a lot of regulators in legacy finance have, putting, let's say, red tape around the space. There's a lot of good points Kevin made specifically with Ripple, where that's a centralized entity, but the case is dragging on and on and on. So it's hard. So at least from a regulatory standpoint, I would say there's just a lot of unknowns that we don't necessarily have today, because the space itself, I kind of just think of money's kind of flowing around like water through different crypto assets and stable coins. So it's really hard for regulators, and there's going to be some kind of middle ground. There's just a lot of unknown and uncertainty there. I would say the higher risk for the synthetics assets is the smart contracts behind them can be much more complex. So you're probably at a higher attack surface when it comes to something breaking in the smart contract that could be like catastrophic. Like I know synthetics uses Chainlink oracles. So if Chainlink oracles ended up having an issue, you could have all sorts of liquidations. And when it comes to like the risk in a lot of this, there's a lot of unanswered questions. So, I would say from a regulatory standpoint, I don't think there's much to be worried about per se on certain synthetics assets. There's just going to be a lot of negativity and a lot of emotions that run extremely high while the market is in a downturn. And as far as the regulation aspect of it, I would say probably a good starting point will be what happens after the Ripple case, since that's been going on. And then after that, we could probably reevaluate and see if that's going to affect DeFi protocols later on down the line. Because with synthetics, you can actually create a synthetic USD, but it is actually backed by the stakers of the protocol, as well as any REN BTC or Ethereum that is used as collateral for synthetics USD. So it's not like you can shut down the smart contracts unless there's developers that have what are referred to as admin keys, and then they have the keys to those smart contracts, which could put it at a higher risk. But I don't know if that's the case for SNX specifically. I would say for now, there's going to be a lot of negativity, and the regulation aspect of it, at least related to DeFi, it's going to take some time to have a lot of resolution to those unknowns. And then I think pretty much, in my opinion, there's a lot of really good points Kevin and the panel made specifically with stable coins, and then just having allocations to that, so you can make allocations back into DeFi protocols or even Bitcoin and Ethereum, potentially at lower price levels should the market trends in that direction. But for Ethereum protocol, synthetics is definitely one of the more established ones at this point, and I have a hard time seeing that shut down because of how decentralized the community already is, unless there's an attack vector through, let's say, a developer that has admin keys to those smart contracts.
Thank you very much.
That makes sense.
There was a lot there. I understood some of it. The rest I'll go look up. Thank you guys for the amazing commentary.
Thanks, Donovan.
I think the recorded section of this video, we'll just leave it there. So don't go anywhere. And for anybody watching the video, like if it's worth coming to these sessions, because we're going to do an open Q&A now, where we're going to probably be a little more free with some of the answers. So please come and join next time. So we'll close the recording there, and be sure to stay on, everybody that's in the chat, and then we'll answer some questions.